Can you explain about Mantra Japa and how should a seeker pursue it?
You are watching Reflections on Reality.
Discover the newest books from our collection: The Heart of Everything, a spiritual memoir, and Abhinava Vijayam, a dharmic magnum opus, both written by a gifted author, Kanchi.
So what is Mantra Japa? First we'll break down the word mantra. Manasa Trayam iti mantraha. That which utilizes the mind, that which grabs the mind is mantra. Also there is another etymology. Mantranat mantra itya chakshate. That which is contemplated upon is mantra. Right? So what do we contemplate on? So when we say Mantra Japa, what is Mantra Japa? We take a certain, some name or some word and we utter it, we mutter it, we mumble and we go on repeating it. Yes, this is Mantra Japa. But strictly speaking, not every word, traditionally, not every word that we utter is mantra. Right? Only that which is from the Vedas is considered mantra. Only the words, only the hymns of the Vedas, only the aksharas or the shabdas used in the Vedas are called mantras. Now, so many people, chant Shuklam Bharadram Vishnum Shashivardam Chaturbhujam Prasanna Vadanam, all these things. Then there is Bhaja Govindam. Then there is Ashtotras, Ganesha Ashtotra, Saraswati Ashtotra. There are so many Ashtotras, right? And then there are, Bhagavad Gita, they chant all these things. But even Bhagavad Gita, it is not mantra. We say shlokas. Bhagavad Gita shlokas, right? It is not mantra. Mantra, strictly, traditionally speaking, it is from the Vedas. And what are the Vedas? We all know that the Vedas are divided into 4 Vedas, that is Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharva Veda. Now Rigveda has all the hymns of the Vedas. So Rigveda is where it's the original collection or the original pool of the Vedic hymns. Application of these hymns is in Yajurveda. How do you apply these hymns in daily life? Suppose your child is getting, Upanayana, like, or Aksharabhyasa, you got to teach him education or something like that. The first day of school, so to say, there is some samskara, right? And then you're getting married. For that, what mantras to apply? So all these things are in Yajurveda. Yajurveda is the practical application in daily life of the mantras that are available in Rigveda, right? And then we have the Samaveda. Samaveda is again the Rigvedic mantras, but put in melody, right? It's a very specific way of chanting these mantras. Rigveda itself has the rule. Rigveda itself has some chandas. Chandas is meter. So Rigveda itself has chandas, but in Samaveda it's described, it's applied in a melody, so to say, you know what I mean. So how do you sing? The Samans are the songs of the Vedas, right? And then we have the Atharva Veda. Atharva Veda is very specific mantras which were, authored, or you can say authored, for lack of a better word, by Atharva and Angirasa. These are 2 clans of rishis for protection of cows, for protection of the household, for fighting the enemies, for stopping the rain. All these very to reduce the poison in the body. Very specific mantras are in the Atharva Veda. Right? So how did the Rigveda, how did the original hymns become 4? It was compiled by Vedavyasa. That was compiled in Dwapara Yuga. We are in the Kali Yuga. Dwapara Yuga, around 5,000-6,000 years ago, Dwapara Yuga ended with the Mahabharata war. So during Dwapara Yuga, Vedavyasa, Krishna Dvaipayana, he is called Vyasa because he is the compiler. Vyasa is a position. So before Vyasa, there were other people. Vashishta was a Vyasa, actually, was a compiler in a previous Yuga. So he compiled and he divided these the one Veda into Rigveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, Yajurveda, all these things, and then Samhitas attached to that, Upanishads attached to that, and all that. So the mantras are in Rigveda. Now, who authored these mantras? So they are called, the mantras of the Rigveda are called Apaurushaya. Apaurushaya is there is no human element in that. So does that mean the rishis are not humans? Rishis are very much humans. What it means is even they do not claim the authorship for the mantra. You see, for example, Gayatri Mantra, the famous Gayatri Mantra, everybody we give credit to the Rishi, Brahmarshi Vishwamitra. Say Vishwamitra is the mantra drishta of this mantra. What is mantra drishta? The one who sees the mantra in his mind, the one who sees the mantra in his consciousness is mantra drishta. So Gayatri Mantra, which famously known as Gayatri Mantra, is the mantra drishta is Vishwamitra. So the mantra was revealed to him. So what was revealed to him? Where the words of the mantra revealed to him, where the specific formation of the words revealed to him, or was the essence of the mantra revealed to him, and then he codified it into a mantra. Right? We can debate about this, but the basic premise is the rishis of the Rigveda are not authors of any of the mantras. They are the seers. Seers is they are the drishtas, mantra drishtas. They saw the mantra and they taught it to their disciples and their sons. So we have like this, like Vishwamitra, we have many rishis. We have Vishwamitra, we have Kashyapa, we have Vasishta, Bhrigu, Angirasa, Atri, Gautama, and Kadma. Like this, there are so many. And all these people had their own disciples and their own clans. And they taught some mantras to their children or to their disciples. Right? So all these, now Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa divided these mantras into mandalas, first mandala, second mandala, third mandala, all these ways, and based on some whatever principles he had in mind, we don't know, but he compiled them for future generations, so it's easy for us to deliver them to the next generation and so on and so forth. Before that, it was an oral tradition. Nobody was writing down mantras, right? So these were the humble beginnings. You can't say humble, but these were the beginnings of the mantra. Now the same mantras later on, when the next batch of the rishis came, they took upon these mantras and they applied it in the yagnas. So when we do the fire sacrifices, whether you're doing a fire sacrifices, people mistake that they think only fire sacrifices the mantras are there. There are water, there's tarpana, right? There are so many things. For everything in our Vedic tradition, every single thing that we are living for, everything we do, every action, there is a mantra attached. So even for taking a bath, there are mantras. For asking repentance, apologies, when you're going to sleep, you want to apologize for all the, you want to repent for all the sins you had committed during that day, there is a mantra. So for every action, from eating food, drinking water, offering water to somebody else, welcoming a guest into your house, welcoming anybody into your house, there are avahana mantras. So for every single act, there is a mantra. And our rishis did not worship the gods only through the fire altar or through idols. We worship the deities, we worship the devatas through fire, through water, through earth, that is clay, and through making idols, permanent and temporary idols. Kalasha, in any homa, they make a kalasha. So kalasha is like a temporary abode of the deity. And then again, the water is poured out. So like this, in every small way, we add we use the mantras. So application of the mantras, right? And these rishis, now what happened, these rishis were progressing rapidly. They were meditating on these mantras and realizing more things. They attained superhuman states of consciousness and all these things. Now they wanted to, seeing these people, the common people also wanted to achieve that. You see someone happy, you see someone, glowing and full of energy and bliss and all that. You see that person is radiating, radiating like the sun. You also feel, I wish I was like that. Why does he have so much energy? Why is he looking so happy? Why does he have so much power, ojas within him? Right? He shines like the sun. So there are all these descriptions of the rishis, of Vishwamitra and all the kings, all the rishis were all the regular, they were all jealous of Vishwamitra's opulence, the way he looked. So they were people used to wonder, what do they have that we don't have? So even common folk would go to them and say, give us Diksha, initiate into mantra that so we also can learn and attain something, whatever it is that you have. So the rishis then handed over these mantras, very specific mantras. So even in Ramayana, Rama's father Dasharatha, he doesn't have male offsprings. So he goes to a rishi and he asks him, I think Rishishringa, if I'm not mistaken, I'm very bad with names. He asks him to help him beget a son. So specific mantras were that time applied, and he got 4 sons, right? Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrugna, like this. So from time immemorial, from the Bhagavata Purana, all these Puranas you go back, you will read stories about such, yogis, normal people who became yogis by practicing Mantra Japa. So one such example I can think of is there was a prince called Dhruva. So Dhruva was barely 5 years old, a 5-year-old prince. He was the son of a king called Uttanapada. So this Dhruva sees his stepbrother sitting on the lap of his father. So he also has a desire, naturally. He also wants to play with his father. So he goes to sit on his father's lap. When he goes there, his stepmother pulls him away and says, you don't have the right to sit on your father's lap. Only my son has the right. So she chides him and pushes him away. Right? So he doesn't know what to do. He's like, what do I lack? I want something. Please, I want to sit on my father's lap. So the mother, Suruchi, I think I'm not. So Suruchi says, if you really want, go ask the Lord Vishnu. Go ask Mahavishnu. If Mahavishnu agrees, then I'll let you, sit on his lap. Get the boon from Mahavishnu. So now he doesn't know who is 5-year-old child. He doesn't know who is Mahavishnu. But he realizes that at any cost, he wants to sit on his father's lap. So that desire takes over him, because for a child, the love of his parent is everything. He goes to the forest. He doesn't know what any vidhi vidhana, how to do practice tapas, penance, nothing he knows. He goes to the forest. On the way to the forest, he meets sage Narada. He meets Narada over there, and Narada gives the Diksha. So this is how the Diksha was given in the olden days. Narada gives him Diksha. He says, you should chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this child, 5-year-old child, he doesn't know even the meaning of anything. He just knows these alphabets. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And Narada says, chant this mantra with your entire heart, and whatever you want, you will gain. So the child is so rapt with attention. He loves just the sound of the mantra. He goes into a forest. He gives up eating. He gives up drinking, because his mind is single-mindedly in one quest to attain his, father's love, to get his father's love. So he gives up food, water, everything. He says single-mindedly, because Narada tells him you have to chant it without leaving, like you don't stop. So he says, no, if he has to eat, if he has to drink, he'll have to stop. So this child thinks, no, I will not stop at anything. And continuously he goes on chanting, leaving water, food, everything. And because of this tapas shakti, the whole forest, the whole earth becomes hot, they say. The heat of the tapas is so much that the animals and all these people go to, Vishnu. All the other beings go to Vishnu and say, please do something, because his tapas is so ferocious that we're not able to live. So please give him his boon. So this is 6 months. He did this in 6 months. He attained this siddhi, mantra siddhi, which sometimes people might take, very long time. So the story is, at the end of it, Narayana appeared before him, and he says, Dhruva, his name is Dhruva, says, Dhruva, what do you want? But by this time, Dhruva has undergone this penance. It has purified his mind. It has revealed his purva samskaras. He remembers a lot more than what a 5-year-old should know. So he realizes the ultimate is Mahavishnu for him. The ultimate is Moksha. So he says, I want that. I don't want anything else. I want the bhakti, because he has enjoyed the bliss of bhakti, he's enjoyed the bliss of devotion. That bliss is beyond the love of his father, beyond sitting on the lap of his father. What he has attained there is immeasurable. In front of that, everything else, all the materialistic things are nothing. So he says, let this bhakti be there. This is enough. That I should never be separated from this, devotion. So Mahavishnu is very gratified. In that moment only he attains moksha. And is today also Dhruva is immortalized. Today also Dhruva, when we see the pole star in India, the pole star is named after Dhruva. And pole star is that which does not move. It is fixed. So we say it is a very befitting name. So they say the Saptarishis, the 7 sages, they named the pole star after Dhruva. So he is like, you can say that it was named after him, or he is that luminous body. You can, whatever, depending on how you want to interpret the Puranas. But the idea is that devotion which is unshakable is the devotion of Dhruva. And this is the story of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Right? So like this, there are many more stories. There is a story of Bhakta Prahlada. So Bhakta Prahlada is son of a very, very ferocious Rakshasa called Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu is one of those great villains of the Puranas, right? Hiranyakashipu rules the 3 worlds. He takes over the Indraloka from the king of the gods, from Indra himself. So but before all this, he's a great tapasvi also, Hiranyakashipu. He goes to do tapas. When he is gone to do tapas, he leaves his son. His wife is pregnant with his son. When he leaves for tapas, he leaves him in a hermitage and he goes to do tapas. In the hermitage, again Narada appears. This is all in the Bhagavata Purana, Vishnu Purana and all that. So in that hermitage, even again Narada appears. And Narada tells the wife of Hiranyakashipu, he is talking to her about the glories of Narayana. So here, when the child is in the womb of mother, he hears the name of Narayana. Om Namo Narayanaya. So this is the Mahamantra of Narayana. So hearing that, even in the womb, he gets exhilarated, he gets excited. So after birth, that child is continuously meditating on Narayana. Continuously that name is going on in his mind. Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayana. So it's going on. And when Hiranyakashipu comes back, now basically the backstory is Hiranyakashipu's brother, Hiranyaksha, is killed by Mahavishnu. So Hiranyakashipu hates Vishnu and he is his mortal enemy. He wants to destroy Narayana, Mahavishnu, that is, at any cost. And he comes home to see his own son continuously chanting Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. So imagine the father's plight. He gets very angry. And so, but the joke here is both the son and the father are always continuously chanting the name Narayana. One with devotion and the father with hatred, with dvesha. Continuously, Narayana, Narayana, he wants to kill this Narayana, right? Continuously it is going on. And the grace of the God is such that he reveals himself to both of them in the form of Narasimha. So he appears from a pillar in the form of half lion, half man, kills Hiranyakashipu. But Hiranyakashipu, in that moment of death, because he is killed by the hands of Narayana, attains moksha. And his son Prahlada, by having the darshan of the Lord, he also eventually, attains. He is a great Bhakta. So like this, our Puranas are filled with stories of sages like this continuously, who have, chanted and enjoyed the benefits of Mantra Japa. You might have heard of Valmiki. Valmiki is called Adi Kavi. He was the first Kavi, or the first poet of Bharata, or first poet of the world, you can say. So he authored the Ramayana. So before that, he was a dacoit called Ratnakara. And again, situation arises that somehow he ends up getting Mantra Diksha from Narada. So in all these cases, Narada. But it's not that Narada is the only one who was giving Diksha. There are many people who are giving. But coincidentally, Narada gives him also the Diksha. But here, in one of the stories I have read, the story goes that he did not want to give Valmiki the right Diksha. Because he did not want, Valmiki is a very, like a dacoity skilled people. He was not a good person. So Narada didn't want him to attain moksha or him to achieve the benefits of, the mantra chanting. So the story goes that he didn't give him the japa, nama japa of Rama. He tells him Mara. He asks him to chant Mara, 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 Mara. So Mara, Mara is actually death. So Valmiki sits down and he starts chanting Mara, 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 Mara. But Mara, Mara, Mara is also Rama, 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 right? Mara is death, Rama is birth, Rama is light, right? But he doesn't realize that he has been given the wrong thing. So even though the chanting was wrong in this case, so I'm giving an example because even though this chanting was wrong in this case, the bhavana or the emotion was right. Right? So Valmiki today also is famous world over because of his Valmiki Ramayana. Just reading that, people have attained the highest thing. We know about Rama because of Valmiki's Ramayana, right? So his glory is unmatched, and we are always grateful for this. And to Narada also for giving the whatever the mantra was, right? So what is important here is bhavana. Yat bhavo tat bhavati. The kind of emotion you have, what is your bhavana, that is how you become. So why we have to chant? See, we can take my father's name, I can take, or my brother's name, and I can chant. That is also akshara, those are also words. You become what you chant. What you constantly meditate on, you become that. So when you want to become something, nobody will say, if I'm, let's say I want to become a cricketer, they will not say I want to be the second best player of all time. Right? I want to be successful. I won't say I want to be third best businessman of the year or something. Everybody wants to be the best. Everybody wants to be the greatest. So if you're aspiring for something, aspire for the highest. Right? So if you are meditating on God, you attain Godhood, or you become merged in that, in whichever way you want to say it. Right? You melt into that. So this is why you gain the qualities of that entity you are meditating on. This is only yat bhava tat bhavat. When we speak about a Rigvedic mantra, there are specific features of any Rigvedic mantra. Those are, they always have the Rishi, Devata, Chandas, and Vinyoga. So what is Devata? Who is that mantra dedicated to? Right? Who is the mantra dedicated to? Then the Rishi. Who is the Rishi of that mantra? Who is the mantra drushta of that mantra? The third thing is the chandas. What meter is it in? And the fourth one is finally the Vinyoga. Vinyoga is utility. What is it for? So this is embedded in every Rigvedic mantras. So for example, when we take the Gayatri mantra, everybody knows the Gayatri mantra. Gayatri mantra is Om Bhuvassuvaha Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yona Prachodayat. Okay. So there are certain vyarthis, there are certain way to chant the mantra, which are very strictly given, right? So nowadays people are singing in tunes and making songs out of it. These are all not. If they want to do it, they can do it, but not to be done specifically because they are supposed to be chanted in a certain way and for a certain very specific purpose. So we call this the Gayatri mantra because the chandas is Gayatri. The devata of this mantra is not Gayatri. The devata of this mantra is Savitra. Savitra is the sun god. So it is a male deity. People always mistake Gayatri mantra to be Saraswati or Gayatri and all these things. It is the Savitra, the sun god is the devata. Savitra devata, Vishwamitra rishihi, Gayatri chandaha, and you can either say Jape Vinyogaha or Pranayama Vinyogaha. People use this mantra to do pranayama and they practice this during the Sandhya Kalas. Sandhya Kala is 3 times a day. Sandhi is the junction. So between day and night and day is the early morning Sandhya Kala. Then forenoon and afternoon is the middle Sandhya Kala, and the night and day is the day and night is the third Sandhya Kala. This is called the Trikala Sandhya. People who do this Sandhya Vandane 3 times a day, it's called Trikala Sandhya. So this is very rare now. People are still, there are a lot of people who still do it, but it is a little rare. So basically these are the features: Vishwamitra Rishi, Gayatri Chandaha, and pranayama or japa vinyoga, and Savitra Devata. So these are the four. So like this, every mantra has this. And Gayatri, there are in this meter there are there are many Gayatris. So there is the Soma Gayatri, there is Gayatri mantra for Rudra also, for Vishnu also, for Saraswati. For all the devatas there are Gayatri mantras. So people mistake and think that this is, so this I'm just giving you an example of what a mantra is, right? So what is japa now? So this we have discussed the mantra to some extent. What is japa? Japa, the word itself can be divided into two parts, ja and pa. Ja is the root word for janma, for jati. Janma is birth. Jati is like a quality of birth, right? So like Manushya Jati is, you are born in the human Jati. Like this, you could be born in as a vulture, as tiger, lion, whatever. So these are all called Jati. Basic idea is Ja is the root word for Jati, right? Root of birth. And Pa is root word for Para, that which is beyond. So Japa is that which takes you beyond Janma, right? That which takes you beyond Janma, beyond Jati, beyond divisions. I'm a human being, I'm a person, I'm a man, I'm a woman. That which takes you beyond these differences, this duality is Japa. So it helps you transcend birth and death, right? So it is a tool for moksha. It is called moksha pradhan. It takes you towards moksha, makes you attain moksha. So Patanjali, the famous Patanjali says, tad japa tadartha bhavana. So how to do japa? Is to do japa with bhavana, right? Tad japa tadartha means understand the meaning of the mantra, right? When we say Om Namah Shivaya, we have to understand the essence of that mantra. Only when we understand the essence of this Panchakshari mantra, this Om Namah Shivaya, only then you can say you are doing japa. Otherwise, we cannot say I am doing japa. Otherwise, even parrots will attain moksha. No? Why parrots don't attain? Because once they hear, they can keep repeating it forever till they die, but they don't attain moksha because they don't have the capacity to understand the essence of the mantra. So that's why that is the difference between a man, a human being, and an animal. Right? Tad japa, tadartha bhavanam. So when we say japa, now we have to understand, okay, now we know, okay, to an extent what is japa and what is mantra. But how to practice this japa? To practice japa, first you need to understand that there are 4 elements to japa. First thing is called Diksha. Then we have mantra. Then we have Devata. And then we have Sankalpa. So what is Diksha? Diksha is initiation. To learn anything, somebody has to come and give it to you. Now if I just tell, okay, you start chanting from now on, you start chanting Om Namah Shivaya. If I just tell you start chanting, you won't know how to chant, how much to chant, where to chant, what is Om Namah Shivaya. You never heard of this thing, you don't know what to do with it. How will you attain the mantra siddhi? How will you, you have the password, so to say, but you don't know how to apply it. So this is why initiation in this day and age now is very important. We read in the stories of Prahlada, Dhruva, Narada was coming and giving Diksha. Vashishta gave Diksha to Rama. Right? Brahmarshi Vashishta gave Diksha to Rama. Ghora Angirasa gave Diksha to Krishna. And they taught them how to do Mantra Japa, how to meditate, how to do these things. So this is called initiation. This is very important. But today it is a little difficult to gain that initiation. But even then, for anybody who has not done Upanayana is the thread ceremony. When you do the thread ceremony, the Purohita there, the Pandita will will give you the initiation of Gayatri. So Gayatri mantra, for example, is supposed to be given from father to son. Suppose father is not there, then elder brother or grandfather. So there are these things. But thing is, the father should be practicing. Today what's happening, the parents, the father is not practicing. His father maybe was practicing or not practicing, we don't know. Even then, if you are not able to if you don't have a guru of your own who can give you mantra diksha, then the other diksha, father if he is practicing, very good. If not grandfather, elder brother, if none of these people are there, then a pandit in your, they can come and do upanayana and give you diksha for mantra diksha for upanayana, for Gayatri they can give. Suppose still you are not able to find all these things, no problem. You can start on your own. Start. That should not become an impediment that I will not practice because nobody has initiated me. So like we have the story of Ekalavya during Mahabharata. Dronacharya was not teaching him. So he built a figure of Dronacharya and he practiced archery and he practiced, all the martial arts without the guru. And he excelled at it. So it's not to say that if you don't have, you cannot achieve it. You can achieve it, but try. If you can't get Diksha, then start practicing on your own. It should not be an impediment to practice. Practice is most important. Doing something good, even in a flawed way, is better than not doing it at all. Right? So the first thing is Diksha. The second thing is we have to pick a Devata. Right? So the thing about Devata is, first we have to meditate on our Ishta Devata. So everybody has a Ishta Devata. Suppose some people will, just if you are born in India or you are born as a Hindu, we have options, right? We have Shiva, you have Vishnu, we have Saraswati, Lakshmi, we have, Surya Narayana, we have Ganesha, Skanda, Hanuman, Rama, Krishna. We have unlimited to suit our, qualities, our vibe, to so to say. We can choose it's called Ishta Devata. We love this Devata, we will meditate on this Devata. Suppose you don't have an Ishta Devata, right? Suppose you don't know or you don't have. Then there is something called your Kula Devata, means who your ancestors worshipped. There's an unbroken lineage, your father, your grandfather, your ancestors would have worshipped one Kula Devata. So then if you don't have or you don't know or you're confused, you can always worship your Kula Devata. That is given. If Kula Devata also is, you don't know who your Kula Devata is, which is very much possible. I know a lot of people who don't know. Then you can meditate or you can do Japa of your Grama Devata. Right? So let's say you're living in Chidambaram. Nataraja is there. Let's say you're in Tiruvannamalai, you have Shiva. Right? In every place, you are in Badrinath, somewhere close to Badrinath, we have Badrikeshwar. So everywhere you will have, in our country at least, there is one, either Grama Devata or the entire region will have one, that also you can do. And you are not, let's say, compelled to feel, you don't feel compelled enough to meditate or to, do Japa on that. That is also okay. Then you can do Pranava. Pranava mantra is Om. See, Om is you can say the queen of all mantras or the king of all mantras is Om. Om is the root of all mantras. In Om, all the Vedas is there. So if you don't want to take any name, you can just do Japa Om. Om. So inhalation, and then you can inhale and you can meditate on Om itself. That is also doable. So this is the thing about Devata. So now we have seen Diksha and Devata. Next is Mantra. So now Shiva. Well, let's say I love Shiva. I want to do Japa on Shiva. So we can say Shiva, 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 Shiva. That is also doable. Shiva, 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 Shiva. People do that. People who are living in Tiruvannamalai, they go on chanting Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, or Arunachala, Arunachala. Another name for Shiva. That is also okay. Then we have the famous Panchakshari mantra, which is Om Namah Shivaya. Right? So this also you can do. Now when we come to mantra, there are many different types of mantras, which we have discussed. One is the Vedic mantra, right, which has all the different facets. Om Namah Shivaya is a Vedic mantra. So when we say Vedic mantra, we call them Shrauta mantras. That which are from Shrutis. Shrutis are basically, a Shruti is a scripture we have heard, right? That which we hear is called Shruti, right? So all the Vedas, because they were delivered orally through many generations, they are called Shrutis. They were heard by the rishis and given forth by the rishis. So they are called Shruti. They are called Shrauta mantras. Like Shrauta mantras, we have mantras from the Smritis. They are called Smarta mantras. Okay. Like this, we have mantras from the Upanishads. Though Upanishads are part of the Vedas, Upanishads are very focused about attaining self-realization. So they never discuss about other things. So Upanishad mantras, there are something like Shankaracharya has made many of the Mahavakyas very famous. Tattvamasi, Ayam Atma Brahma, Aham Brahmasmi. These are all Upanishadic mantras. Right? These Mahavakyas are from the Upanishads. Ayam Atma Brahma. So you can even meditate on these things. These are also mantras. So then we have, so first we had the Shrauta, Smarta, then we have the Upanishad, then we have something called Nama mantras. So Ramayana, see, Rama is not mentioned in the Vedas. Rama is not mentioned in those early Vedas or the Upanishads and all that. Rama comes later in the Puranas, in the Itihasa. Ramayana is the Itihasa, the history. But Ramanama is very famous today. There are so many sages who have attained so much, who have realized themselves by the name of Rama. So it's called Nama mantras. Like Om Namah Shiva is also, you can say it's a Nama mantra, but it is a Shrauta because it's from the Vedas. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. These are all from the Vedas. They were popularized in Puranas. Right? The Rama mantra, name of Rama, Ram is actually a Bija mantra. But it is also the name of that king. But Nama mantra is very famous. People go Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, 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 Ram. And then we have the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So these are all Nama mantras. Then we have the Bija mantras. And then we have the Tantra mantras. Generally, I don't even want to talk about Bija mantras and Tantra mantras because both of them you have to be initiated. If you are not initiated, Bija mantras are extraordinarily powerful. So it's like adding ghee to the fire. If you're taking a big scoop of clarified butter and throwing into the fire will light up. So it is very much like that. So we should not even play around with that unless you have a guru sitting with you and teaching you and guiding you completely. So Bija mantras, Tantra mantras, I won't even want to talk about it. And then we have something called the Pranava, which is I spoke about Om. Right? So you can choose a mantra of your what you like. If you don't have a guru to give you Diksha, then what do you like? Om Namah Shivaya, Shiva, Shiva, Shiva. Right? Along with Pranava, there is another thing called Soham. So Soham is this natural mantra that is going on in your system all the time. So if you go into a silent room or into a silent space and just observe your breath, instead of observing your breath mentally, become aware of the sound of the breath. So when you become aware of the sound of the breath, you will see that the inhalation, when you inhale, the sound that appears is something like so. It's called so. And when this goes out, it's called exhalation, hum. So it is called Hamsa mantra also. Hamsa mantra, Soham mantra. So this is a natural mantra that is going on in your body all the time. Physically it's going on. So just becoming aware of this mantra also is another type of mantra. Right? And then people are devoted to Skanda, Kartikeya. So we have Om Saravana Bhava. We have that Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha, Om Em Saraswatiye Namaha. So all these things are there. People are interested in doing and you already know your Ishta Devata, then freely you can find your mantra and you can start doing it. There is no, what do you say? I will not say that should be some injunctions that don't do this or without a guru or all that. So to give you a small example, why I am to give you a small example, there was a very famous acharya called Ramanujacharya. He is the proponent of Ishta Devata. So in a way, he was an opponent of Adi Shankara, but he has his own great qualities and all that. So when he was younger, somebody told him, like, he was initiated into Narayana mantra, Om Namo Narayanaya, and they told him this mantra should be kept hidden. Don't discuss it with anybody. Don't talk about it to anybody. You should not reveal your mantra. So even now I am telling, if you are chanting any mantra, don't reveal it to anybody. Don't talk about your mantra. That is not necessary. It brings complications. So somebody told this to Ramanujacharya also, that don't reveal your mantra. He asked why we should not reveal the mantra. They said, this is, if you reveal the mantra, you will go to hell. You should not reveal the mantra. But he said, what will happen to them? Because the mantra is very potent. So his guru or one of his guru bhais, they told him they will attain moksha. Because just hearing that mantra, a person is elevated, his consciousness is elevated. So he says, they say, if you reveal it, if you by mistake also speak about the mantra or utter the mantra in front of somebody else, you will surely go to hell. So the next thing we know, Ramanujacharya climbs on the highest gopuram in his town and is screaming from top of the temple. He's screaming to the whole, the town is there. And he is screaming, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. So somebody calls Ramanujacharya's guru and says, your disciple has gone mad. He's standing on that and he's screaming, please do something about it. So they pull him down. They catch hold of him and pull him down. Say, what have you done? What a sin you have committed. You will surely go to hell. So some people chide him like that, say that he say, I am going to hell, no problem. But look at all these people, look at the smile on all these faces. Look at the glow on these faces. They have heard the Mahamantra. Now they will attain moksha. They will attain Vaikuntha. So that joy he had. Similarly, we are happy that people should do the thing. See, there are some flaws in you or there is some flaw in practice, it's okay. People nowadays, they scare you so much, like, don't do practice at all. If you practice, if you do something wrong, you will die, something will happen. All these things, nothing will happen. If you're doing something good, even if it's flawed, it's okay. Start like that and you perfect it. Nothing starts, nobody will start chanting and be perfect from day one. So we've spoken about the Diksha, Devata and Mantra. And the fourth point is Sankalpa. Why do you want to do Japa? That is important. If you are on the spiritual path, there is no question, why do you want to do Japa? We do Japa because we want to attain Moksha. Or a Bhakta or a devotee of the Lord does Japa because he loves. Like, why do you love? When you're in a relationship, why do you love your beloved? Why do you love your spouse? Because you love, that's all. Similarly, a person who is devoted to the Lord or devoted to his Guru, they will love for the sake of loving. So who should do Japa? People who are on the spiritual path should do Japa. People who are seeking peace and happiness should do Japa, right? And people who want wealth, good health, even they should do Japa. And there are people who want to train their mind. They are like, for example, you're addicted to smoking, you're addicted to drinking, gambling, or some sex, some addictions you have, and you want to come out of it. You want to train your mind, you want to come out of this. So even then, you should do. This can help you. Japa can definitely help you come out of your addictions. 100% it can. There are thousands of cases like this. And then you want to become rich, you want to prosper. Even for that, there are mantras. I will not say that you should do Japa to, attain wealth and prosperity, but there are enough. There are mantras in the Vedas, there are mantras in Tantra for you to achieve all these things. And for victory, for success in life, you are continuously failing in your job or some problems you have, some impediments, some obstacles. You want to get rid of the obstacles. You want to come out of these obstacles. For this also, you can do Japa. But the point is, like, all the colors are in white. Similarly, all the fruits are in the spiritual path. So health, wealth, prosperity, success, fame, whatever you want to say, all these things are embedded in the spiritual path. So it's not to say that you cannot achieve everything in the, just by aiming for the highest, everything else on the way you will achieve. So who should do japa is all of you who are seeking any of these things. This is a powerful and a strong and a powerful and a direct path to success, direct path to self-realization, to material prosperity, to good health, all these things. So now let us come to the method. How to do japa? The first thing that is important is something called kala and kshetra. So kala is time. When do you do japa? When to do japa? So like I spoke earlier, the sandhya kalas, the morning sandhya, the junction where night meets day, afternoon where forenoon meets afternoon, and in the night, in the evening when day meets night. So these are the three sandhya kalas. Other than this, there is the Brahma Muhurta. Brahma Muhurta is 2 hours before sunrise. So wherever you are living, and let's suppose we say sunrise is at 6:30, 2 hours before sunrise is best for to start pranayama, to start doing pranayama. So this is called kala. And let's say you're not doing not pranayama, sorry, japa. Let's say you're not doing japa, you've not yet started and you want to start. Then when do we start? What are the auspicious days to start? Basically don't start on a new moon day, on Amavasya Tithi. Start on a full moon day. Full moon day is very good. Or if you're not sure about which days to start on, then you can pick some good festivals and start on that day. Suppose there is Shivratri. On Shivratri, though it is some days, some people might consider it inauspicious to start something new. If you're starting, let's say, Japa of Shiva, you can start on Shivratri. Like this, you can find some auspicious festivals and you can start. This is called Kala. And the best time to practice is in the morning between 4:30 to 6:30. So some people say, okay, I cannot wake up that early. I'm a late riser. Start at 6:30. People say 6:30 is too early. I wake up at 11. Start at 11. So now is the best time. If you can't do, ideal times are Brahma Muhurta or Sandhya Kalas. If you cannot do on any of these things, then now is best. Do now. Whenever you have free time, you do. But the idea is practice diligently on the same time. So today you're doing at 5:30, tomorrow 6:30, tomorrow 7:30, then 8. Whenever you feel like skipping days, this is not to be done. Whenever you decide to do it at that exact same time every day. This brings discipline to your practice and you will see some results. Being indisciplined is not the right way to go about this. So this is called Kala, time. Next is Kshetra. Where to do Japa? Again, if you have not started, you are going to start now. And then a temple near your house, or a Punya Kshetra, or a Tirtha. Suppose you are planning to go to Kedarnath. In Kedarnath, you start. Let your first day be in Kedarnath. If it is nearby, don't plan for 2 years and then not postpone it till then. If you're going to Kedarnath, start in Kedarnath. If there is a temple in your hometown, wherever you live, go there. You can start your, you can start your japa over there. This is called Kshetra. Punyasthala. If there is samadhi of a great sage somewhere near you, go there, start doing japa over there. So these are all high energy places. This will give you the required energy needed for your practice to succeed. Suppose you don't have or you're not interested, no problem. Sit in your house, sit in your bedroom, no problem. Living room space. Face east. Ideally, always when you are doing japa, daily practice should always face east and sit in the same place. So when you are sitting, don't face west or south, ideally east. If east is not possible, face north. That is also okay. That is also not possible, then west. Finally, if you cannot face anything, then you have to face south, and I don't know what the problem is, but try to avoid facing south and meditating and practice in the same day every single day. Don't move around, create a nice, beautiful spot for yourself and sit down the right, and this is called kshetra, basically facing east and doing daily. Third thing is asana. So, you want to sit on a chair, ideally you have to be in on the floor. Have a mat, never sit on the bare ground. Always have a mat. It insulates you properly. And sit in Sukhasana or Siddhasana. These two asanas are very good for japa. Padmasana also is very good, but not everybody can do Padmasana. Sukhasana, Siddhasana, Padmasana or Ardha Padmasana is also okay. These four asanas is a very good thing. Keep your back erect, keep your spine erect, keep your neck straight. Don't droop, don't fall down and do japa. Sit straight, close your eyes and you can do japa. So this is called asana. So we have Kala, Kshetra, asana, and then we have something called, we have Kala, Kshetra, asana, and then along with asana everybody knows pranayama is involved. So what is pranayama? I will explain. Inhalation, exhalation. Even witnessing this is also pranayama. But in this context, in the context of japa, what is pranayama? Suppose we are practicing, suppose you want to do japa of Om Namah Shivaya. So there are three elements in pranayama. One is inhalation, second is retention. There is some amount of space where you are retaining the breath inside, and then there is exhalation. Right? So inhalation, so when we, let's say we are doing Panchakshari Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah on inhalation and Shivaya on exhalation. And then alternate, Om Namah Shivaya. So adding this pranayama, what happens? Your breath is in tune with the mantra. So no matter how many times you are doing, let's say how many ever times we are breathing in the day, that many times you would have done your japa. Right? So once it is training your mind continuously to breathe this way, to breathe this way. So your breathing comes in a certain rhythm, right, with this pranayama that is in tune with the japa, right? So we have Kala, Kshetra, Asana and Pranayama. Now we have something called the Mala. So how do you finally do japa? So to do japa, we must have an instrument. What is japa? Japa is muttering, right? Japa is finally muttering or humming or chanting the mantra repeatedly. It is not chanting it once. Suppose we say Om Namah Shivaya. This does not become japa. Muttering continuously, chanting continuously, only then it is japa. Repetition is japa. It is a mantra. Om Namah Shivaya is a mantra. Mantra becomes japa when we repeat it continuously. So how long to continue? All these things are there. But first we need an instrument. First thing is we have our mind. We are using our lips, our vocal cords. So there are three types of chanting. One is called Vaikhari. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. This is Vaikhari. This is called Upamsa. Your lips are moving, you're mumbling, but people cannot hear this. It is in between loud and internal. So the third thing is called Manasika. Manasika is where you are not moving your lips or the sound doesn't come, but you are chanting within your mind. Right? So these three things are there. Vaikhari, Upamshu and Manasika. So why do we need Vaikhari? Why does someone have to chant it loudly? Because they say Manasika is the best. Manasika mantra, Manasika japa is the highest. It is the best. But then why even this segregation is there? Why are we even talking about Vaikhari? See, Vaikhari is for those people. Now suddenly I'm in an agitated mode. I'm screaming at people, I'm angry, and my time has come 5:30, I want to do japa. I sit down, my mind is agitated, it's running all over. So now if I try to do Manasika japa, it becomes very difficult to do Manasika japa, even just to chant, because the mind is completely occupied with thoughts of the world outside. So in such a situation, Vaikhari is very useful, because that sound will drown the sound of the world around us. So when you have a very agitated mind, when you have a Rajasic mind, Vaikhari japa, it is very good. It is not that you should not do Vaikhari japa. It is good to do Vaikhari when you are agitated, when you are in a Rajasic state of mind. So this is good. When the mind calms down, the mind is not going to calm down in a bit immediately and go into complete sattva, right? It's not going to do that. There are intermediate states. Even if you're tamasic and you're feeling sleepy, even then it is good to do Vaikari Japa. And when you're doing Vaikari Japa, if you don't want to keep your eyes open or your eyes closed, then you can keep it half open. That you can keep it half open where you let the light come in. It might look a little strange, but you let the light come in so you don't go to sleep. This is a trick you can do in all meditation, because for people, especially for people who fall asleep when they're meditating. Because if you close your eyes, you become inert, you fall asleep. If you open your eyes, you're very distracted. So you open your eyelids enough to let the light come in. So for Vaikari Japa, you can keep your eyes open or half closed. For Upamsu also you can do that. For Manasika Japa, better to always keep your eyes closed and do the Manasika Japa. Manasika Japa, you start with Vaikari, few rounds here and there, and slowly you will come and you can come to Manasika. There is a fourth state after Manasika called Ajapa. We'll come to that in a bit. So now how do we do Japa when we are chanting? So there are a few ways. The first way is we use Rudraksha Mala. We use a mala, right? And in malas, there are many different malas. Mala is basically, this is a mala, right? So this is a Rudraksha Mala. Like this, there are many different malas. There are many different malas to do Japa. So there's something called Haldi or turmeric mala. That I will just describe briefly, around 7-8 I have. Something called Haldi or turmeric mala. It's yellow in color. It is very good to purify your skin. If you are unhealthy, your aura is very dirty, you're not feeling very clean, in a very negative state of mind, Haldi malas are very good to purify the environment, purify your skin, your mind and all that while doing this thing. For that, Haldi or turmeric malas is good. And even for Devi worship, Haldi malas are very good. Other than this, next we have something called sandalwood. Sandalwood is good for Avahana mantras. Suppose you go to a new house, you have a new house, you come to a new house, you're not, you want to purify the house, you want to bring in good energies into the house, or you move to a new city or a new country. There you want to, establish your Devata over there and feel good. So these are all, for this you can do Avahana mantras. Avahana mantras is good with sandalwood, right? So invocation mantras, where you're starting, you go into college, you're starting you're just starting MBA or something, you want to do Avana mantra for example, Ganesha or Saraswati. For this, Avana is invocation or welcoming. For any kind of welcoming mantras you can use sandalwood. Then we have silver. Silver is to bring peace of mind. Your mind is always disturbed. You are not able to sleep properly. So for all these things, silver mantras, silver mala is very good. Silver is signified by the moon, right? In astrology, signified by the graha moon, and this is good for your mind. So getting peace of mind. So for people who wear silver malas or people who do japa with silver malas, it is good to find peace and to calm down. Even people who are little angry, it's good for that. And then we have something called the conch. The conch we find in the thing. There are malas, there are rosaries made out of conch also. These conch malas are very good for protection. Suppose you are a person who is continuously being affected by negative aura around. You go to a crowded place, you go to a party, and you come back drained. You're not happy with you feel like some toxic energy is around you. For these kind of this thing, conch malas are very good. And even if you are doing tantra sadhana, for tantra sadhana, conch malas are very, very good. Then we have something called Vaijayanti. So this Vaijayanti is a very, very specific garland of beads. Vaijayanti is good for victory. So suppose all your life you're failing exams, or you're into sports, or you're into politics, and you'll keep losing your seats, or you keep losing against your opponents, even though you're good. See, none of this is going to magically make you good, and you have to work. But I'm just saying the significance of the mala, right? for even soldiers, you're in a state of confrontation. Suppose you're fighting a court case, some issues like that. Wearing Vaijayanti Mala is also very good, and practicing Japa with Vaijayanti Mala also is very good for such people. And then we have the Spatika. Spatika is very famous rosary. Spatika is very good for dhyana. So for people who want to purify themselves completely and live in purity, they don't want to be touched by the world, right? Like Vairagya. Vairagya is having the detachment in the world, and there is some great joy in that. So for people who are practicing, even for people who want like who are very seriously into spiritual attainments, for these people, Spatika lingas Spatika malas are very very good. Right. Finally, we have the Rudraksha. So Rudraksha, basically the seeds of Rudraksha. Basically, the seeds of Rudraksha, they're called the tears of Rudra. Right. That's why they're called Rudraksha. This is what is written in the Puranas. That Rudraksha are the teardrops of Lord Shiva. So, but these are the most auspicious things if you are going to meditate, especially for Shaiva mantras. Even if you're doing Ganesha, Shiva, Parvati, Durga, for all these things, the Rudraksha malas are very, very beneficial. Right? If you're doing Vaishnava, Vishnu mantras, Narayana, Om Namo Bhagavate, Vasudevaya, all these things, Tulsi malas are very good. And Tulsi malas are good for everybody, for everything. Right? So if you're, for women also, Tulsi malas are much better because these absorb a lot of energy. So let's say you're menstruating, or you're going to you should never wear them and go to a funeral, or you should never go wear them, and because they absorb that negative energy, like a place of war or a place of destruction. These malas absorb that energy also. So it's very important to wear the Rudraksha and have a good good energy about you. So even for menstruating women, it is not advised to wear Rudraksha. That's why many people say that women should avoid wearing or doing Japa with Rudraksha. It's better to do with Tulsi Mala. But to each his own. They can decide on their own. Right? And even in Rudraksha, there are many different types of Rudrakshas. So basically, there are Rudrakshas like this, but these I would not recommend for doing Japa because these are too small. It's very difficult to count with these, right? It's very difficult to count your chanting with these. So basically, you turn one, and each one is one chant, right? So it's Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. But these are very small, so I wouldn't recommend them. And then we have the bigger ones, which again I would not recommend. These are also very big. This I would not recommend. So the ideal size should neither be too big. It depends on your hands again, the size of your hands, but it should neither be too big, neither too small. Mala, which is neither too big nor too small, is ideal, right? For Japa. And Rudraksha, so the idea is there are 14 different phases of Rudraksha. So Rudraksha also, it is not only one Rudraksha. So we are starting with Ekamukhi and goes all the way up to 14 phases. Ekamukhi is Rudraksha with one face. Alright, and then 14 is Rudrakshas with 14 faces. So Ekamukhi is Parabrahma. So this anybody who wants to attain Moksha, anybody who is only interested in self-realization, he should meditate with Ekamukhi. Don't even ask anybody else. If you are interested, if your sole goal in life is self-realization and you are ready to give up everything else, then Ekamukhi Rudraksha is the best. So then there is something called, two-faced, right? Two faces of, basically there are, you can see, if you look at a Rudraksha, you can see the faces, you can see that there are lines here and they distinguish the faces. So this is Panchamukhi. So like that, Ekamukhi is Parabrahma Shiva. Second is Ardhanareshwar, and it is also like Ashwini Kumaras are the devatas for that Rudraksha. So it is very good for energy. Suppose you lack energy, you want spiritual energy, you want ojas, that stores a lot of energy. So the significator for the Trimukhi Rudraksha is Guru Brihaspati. So it is a very good Rudraksha Mala to gain knowledge. So you are interested in spiritual sciences, you want to learn about some, anything in the world, wearing a Trimukhi Rudraksha Mala is very, very good. Then we have the fourth one, significator is Buddha, creativity. You are an artist, you are a painter. Let's say you are building a house, you are in the creative field, you are in a creative field. So this Chaturmukha is very good for this. The Devata of Chaturmukha Rudraksha is Brahma. And then we have the fifth one, Panchamukhi. Panchamukhi is like the best for all round. It is the safest mala for anybody to wear. So if you are unsure of which mala you want to do japa with, Panchamukhi is very good. It is for everything. It is the most balanced of all the Rudrakshas. Then we have the sixth one, six-faced one. This is very good again for those people who are in fields of, let's say you are aggressive, you want to tone down your aggression. Six-faced is very good. Devata is Kanda. Let's say you are in running a court case, or you are into sports or any business which is confrontative, right? And you don't want to enter those confrontational situations, or you want to come out victorious. You are a soldier, you are a police officer, you want to be safe from those things. The sixth phase one is very good. Seventh phase is significator for Venus. You want to get married, or you want to be in a successful relationship with somebody. So the Saptamukhi is the lord of that, or the devata for that is Venus or Lakshmi. So all round prosperity. If you are seeking prosperity in life, you are seeking to marry in life, then this is very good. So that is the thing. And also business partnerships. Saptamukhi is good for all those things. The eighth one, Ashtamukhi, is Ketu or Ganesha. Right? So the lord of that Ashtamukhi is Ganesha, removing obstacles. So there are obstacles in your life and you are trying to overcome. For a long time you're stuck in certain things. In Ashtamukhi Rudraksha is very good for that. The ninth one is ruled by Navadurga and Brihaspati again. Brihaspati is the guru of the Devatas. So Navadurga again is Durga is a protective deity, and also like a destroyer of foes, right? So you have any enemies, these kind of things, and you want protection from that. So you want like a motherly thing. Then Navamukhi Rudraksha there. Dashamukha is again Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu again protection. It gives you a more all-round stability and peace of mind. So it's like it's good for sustenance. You're struggling with your daily life. You're not able to pay your bills, or you're not able to do those kind of things. You want some stability in life. You're not able to find some stability in your life, the mental and physical and economical, whatever you say. For that, Mahavishnu is the deity, and this thing, Dashamukha Rudraksha, is very good for this. And then we have the Rudras for the 11th. For the 11 phases, we have the 11 Rudras. They are they protect us. So protection from evil, protection from, like they say, evil eye and these kind of things. Also, like some, you're living in an area or you're living in a house which is not haunted, so to say, but you're not happy with the energy, negative energy all around you, and you want to destroy these kind of negative energies all around you, then 11th phase to Rudraksha is very good. The 12th one is ruled by Aditya and the solar deities. So it is very good for health and success. And suppose you're stuck in a job for a long time, you're not getting promotion, you want to, you're not yet become a manager, you want to become a leader in any field that you are in, then that can benefit you if you are aspiring for those things. The 13th one is Indra. So the 13 mukhas is very good if you want to become, let's say you want to get into politics, or all round health, power, strength, bravery, courage. For all these things, Indra is the deity, and 13 faced Rudraksha is very good. The 14th one is again Shiva. It's a base Japa Mala. It is very good for all, men and women, to do japa with the 14th phases one also. This is a very brief way to tell. Not to say that if you wear the mala, everything will go away or things like that. It benefits the wearer and it benefits the person who does japa. So the basic idea is, this is called the top one here is called the Meru, right? So this Meru is like the Meru Parvata. It should never be crossed. So whenever you do japa, we do all these things and we come to the 108th one. So whenever we do come, we should turn and again do. So you should never cross over. Suppose I am here, I should never cross over and come to the final one. So the idea is to turn it and again do. So never cross over the Mahameru. So that is one thing you should always remember while doing japa. So this is 108 beats, and doing this is considered one chant, is one round, right? So Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, like this 108 times is considered one round. So you can decide how many, depending on how much time you have, and you can start with maybe, let's say, 5 rounds or 10 rounds. So barely takes much time. And then you should never chant with a Rudraksha Mala, which is either too big or too small, like I said. And there is no Meru here. If you see, there is no Meru in this Rudraksha Mala. And this is not even the real Mala. If you put it in the water, it will start losing its color. So if if a Rudraksha is, you rub it and then it loses color, then it is not Rudraksha at all. So that is very important. Second thing, some of the things we need to remember while doing japa is this should not touch the ground. So when you're doing japa, it should not go below and touch the ground or your genitals, things like that. So it's very important to be safe when you're doing that. In olden days, people would have something called a Brahmadanda, and they would, do japa and rest their hand on the Brahmadanda, right? So depending on, right now it's too high. So they would rest their hand and do it on the Brahmadanda. So this way your hand also does not pain. You can do it for longer periods of time, and importantly, the japa doesn't get, doesn't become impure by touching the ground. Again, once you are done with the japa, you can feel free to wear it around your neck or to keep it under your pillow. If you're not interested in wearing it around your neck, it's okay. That's okay if you don't wear. Ideally, you should wear. If you can't wear, it's fine. You can keep it under your pillow or anywhere else. That is also okay. The important thing is to do japa. Where you keep it, all those things are secondary. Those are not as important. So this is the thing. Also, never take it to a funeral home. Also try not to, if you are a woman and menstruating, try not to wear it. Ideally, I would suggest women should meditate with a Tulsi Mala or any of the other malas I have discussed. If you are interested, it's up to you. No issues whatsoever. So now we have discussed the mala also, and we have discussed the mantra and the devata. So, but what do you meditate on? How do you chant the mantra, right? So how do we finally chant the mantra, or how do we? So we have discussed that it can be manasika, but what do you think when you're meditating? Do you just focus on the name of the mantra, or do you even visualize something? For some people, it is difficult to concentrate on the mantra. When you start chanting, you will realize that the mind continuously goes haywire. It is not always meditating, or it is not always focused on the mantra. So to aid this, we have something called Sakara Dhyana. Sakara Dhyana is very simple. Suppose we are meditating on Mahavishnu. For example, we are meditating on Mahavishnu. So Mahavishnu's description is given in the Puranas, right? He has Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Kamala in his hands. He has, right, hand is receding on the Sheshanaga in the Kshira Sakara, in the ocean of milk, right? He is lying down with his eyes half closed, half open, right? And he has the Vaijayanti Mala on him. He has the Kaustuba jewels, and then he has the Srivatsa mark on his chest, and then he wears yellow robes, right? So we can meditate on these things. For example, again, it's We have Shuklam Bharadram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaya. Shuklam Bharadram Vishnum Shashivarnam. Shashivarnam, what does Shashivarnam mean? Means he is dark in color. Prasanna means he has a very pleasant face. So all these descriptions are there in our Shastras. So we can visualize Mahavishnu with a happy face, Prasanna with a very pleasant smile on his lips, right? And meditating on this, when you chant your mantra, Om Namo Narayanaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, any of the mantras, then it aids the meditation, it aids the chanting, it helps the chanting, and it's easier for you to enjoy the quality of your japa. Because suppose you are chanting and you're thinking about your job, your mind is attached to your job or something else, it's very difficult for you to attain that ekagraha. Right? Same thing similarly with Shiva. The mantra Panchakshari, if you are chanting the Panchakshari mantra Om Namah Shivaya. So you're chanting the mantra Om Namah Shivaya, but we can also visualize Shiva sitting in Kailasha, right? And he's a Jatadhari, so he has matted locks, Gangas flowing from the locks. Trinetra, he's got the third eye. Trishuladhari, he's got the Trishula next to him. Right? Nilakanta, blue throated. So all these things we can visualize, wrapped in tiger skin, right? And we can meditate on the form of, I'm talking only the form. Sakara is just the form of either Shiva, Vishnu, Ganesha. All the descriptions are there in our Shastras. So if you're meditating on your favorite Ishta Devata, any of the Devatas, based on the mantra, you can meditate on the form of that. So this is called Sakara Dhyana. Along with Sakara, we have Nirakara Dhyana. Nirakara Dhyana is, you can either meditate on their transcendental qualities like omniscience, omnipotence, the all-pervasiveness, right? The fact that like Shiva is in the heart of all beings, right? So you can meditate on that he is in the heart of all beings. In my previous video, I was talking about Brahman being Nirakara. But similarly, we can apply it to Shiva and say Shiva is Nirakara because Shiva is Brahman. So Shiva is Brahman, Shiva is Nirakara. So these kind of things also you can meditate on these things also. This is called Sakara and Nirakara Japa. This is the beginning stages. So one is, let's say, Vaikhari, then Upamsu, then Manasika. In Manasika, you can say Sakara we can start with, and then slowly move towards Nirakara Japa. Even this is not the end. Even after Nirakara Japa, though you are meditating on the qualities of the Japa, the other thing is inquiring into the root of the thing. Slowly what happens is, when you are continuously chanting for many years, there comes a stage when you are not chanting, where just the intention is enough. Like I close my eyes and I intend that, okay, I'm going to do japa. I hold the rosary in my hand and I start. Just by starting, the japa goes on internally. It's like a tape recorder. Automatically it goes on. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. So then now, when this is happening, what do? You can look at the root of that japa, root of that shabda. It's called Shabda Brahma. Where is this shabda, where is this mantra arising from? See, where is the mantra arising from? So just by meditating on the root of the mantra, we can go to the root of the mantra where that sound is arising from. Where that sound is arising from is where the prana is arising from. It's where all the thoughts are arising from. Right? So this is again going to through self-enquiry in japa. So finally it amounts to that. Finally it comes back to that. Right? So we can go to the root of this. So this automatic chanting is called ajapa. Ajapa is when you are not chanting. No more. See, there comes a stage when you don't need to chant anymore. So people think that, they ask me like, how long do I have to chant for? How long do I keep doing my japa for? Till japa happens automatically, you have to keep doing. Once japa happens automatically, you will not stop it. It happens as soon as there is volition, and even if there is no volition, the japa utters automatically. It goes on. It's a habit. Your body, your mind it comes to such a degree. It becomes such a one-pointed machine that continuously it is repeating, right? So this is called ajapa. So there is a small story about this. So there is a Swami, there is the Shankaracharya of Kanchimata, he was called Chandrasekharendra Saraswati. And he was doing Vijaya Yatra. So he was going entire India, he was going barefoot. So barefoot he was walking throughout India he's done it. So once when he was walking in some area, I don't remember the details of the place, but once when he was walking, suddenly he looked at his disciples and he said, over there, one of the previous Shankaracharya's samadhi is over there. So they could not believe it because it was in the middle of nowhere, and that though they knew of the previous, in his lineage, one of the Shankaracharyas. So though they knew of him, they could not believe that it would be lost in such a God-forsaken place. It was some village with no name. He said, no, it is there. And if you go to that space, so that person, that Shankaracharya has died many years ago, maybe 100, 200 years ago. But he says, if you go there, go and put your head on the ground. He said, go to this area. It describes the place. He says, go to that area and put your head on the ground. So the disciples, they cannot dismiss the Guru's words. So they go and they put their head on the ground to see what is there. When they put their head on the ground, they could hear the Panchakshari mantra. Right? They could hear Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. So this is how they got to know that this Shankaracharya's body is buried there. That person is no more. Right? He has gone into Samadhi. But the power of the mantra is so powerful that even after hundreds of years, that is called ajapa. Continuously it is going on in that space. Even today that Samadhi is built over there. And people go and they visit. I don't know if it's still well kept or famous or anything. But this is the power of the japa. So it's not like it leaves you at the time of this thing, death or anything like that. So japa should be such that it never stops. If you're stopping the japa, they're saying, okay, now I'm done. So there are people who do, okay, I'll do 1 hour of japa. They treat it like a physical exercise, like how you go to the gym or do yoga. I will do half an hour of japa and now I'm spiritually very progressed, That's not how it works. It should be continuous in your life. At all times it should be going on. Like how, for the flame to continuously burn, you have to keep adding oil. Once the oil gets done, you have to add little more. And then the lamp keeps burning. Eternally it can burn. But the energy has to be given little by little and it will continue to shed light. Similarly, the japa has to happen perennially. Like how the Ganga flows perennially in India, similarly, the japa has to flow perennially. Continuously, you have to keep repeating the holy name. This is the way to do japa. Even for example, personally what I have seen is my own grandfather. So we all used to see him when I was a kid, I didn't know what he was doing, right? I would watch him do japa continuously, meditate. So for us, he's just my grandfather and play some games with him and all that. But once when he was on his deathbed and he was in a lot of pain, physically he was in a lot of pain for some few days. And that one particular day, when first that, he had that physical problem, suddenly we took him to hospital. And usually we have any problem, what do we scream? We'll say, Amma, right? Naturally, any human being will say, Amma, Amma, mother, please help me, right? Continuously, even in the hospital, he kept going, Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. So you can fake it for only a brief period of time. You cannot fake it when there is real pain. We will start cursing or saying some words and all that. Continuously, he went on going, Narayana, Narayana, even in that emergency ward. And even when he was dying, the words that were on his lips were always Narayana. It was never Amma, never anything, Appa, Amma, nothing happened. Even whatever pain he was going through. So personally, I have seen he was a very serious sadhaka and he was doing japa all his life from his childhood days, right? And he is a very simple man. Narayana, Narayana, continuously he would utter these words. So personally, I have seen this and I can vouch for it that such people exist. And I have seen his life, I have seen the purity with which he lived his life. We can only aspire to live like that, right? So how does japa actually work, right? So basically our energy daily when we are sitting and we are doing things, 1,000 different places our energy is moving in 1,000 different. So basically we have 100 different thoughts happening in our mind. We have compartmentalized our mind and we are thinking about work, we are thinking about relationships, we're thinking about tomorrow, yesterday, future, all these things. And subconsciously this is going on. Consciously also we are doing, and subconsciously also we are extraordinarily distracted. So Japa does the great job of bringing all these thoughts together. No, so the rishis designed it in such a way, the aksharas or the words were designed in such a way that when you chant the mantras of the Rig Veda or chant the the mantras of the Upanishads and all these things, Shrauta mantras, or even Smartha mantras, you are invoking that particular energy. So people say, what is in a mantra? I can say whatever I want. I am beautiful. I am beautiful. You can say that is not wrong. I am not against these things. But even in a million people, suppose your name is Siddharth, even in a million people are standing, if I say scream Siddharth, you will immediately turn. That is the power of that word, right? And continuously from childhood, if I keep telling you you're ugly, you're ugly, you're ugly, you will believe that. Yad bhava tad bhavati. You will believe that because that's how you've been thinking continuously. You will become ugly, so to say, or you will believe that you're ugly. Similarly, when we are continuously meditating on the transcendental qualities or the great qualities or the highest qualities that a divine being can have, you imbibe those qualities. There is certain amount of purification and there is certain amount of unification of your energies. So suppose a certain amount of watts is going in 100 different directions. The amount of energy that is distributed is a lot more. So everywhere you will get little energy. But when everything comes together, it's called ekagra. So imagine the energy once everything comes together and you're pointing it in a single direction, the focused effort or the focused energy is a lot more powerful than anything that we are aware of. So this is what it makes the mind ekagra. It makes the mind one pointed, and that is sufficient to carry forth you from this samsara. So this is the power of japa. So what are the benefits of japa? We have physical benefits. Every day you're sitting half an hour, you're sitting in Padmasana. Padmasana is a very good asana, right? So we have physical benefits of japa, we have emotional benefits, we have intellectual benefits, we have creative benefits, it improves willpower, and it also seizes the wrong thought process, right? So the mind is continuously going everywhere and jumping from one branch to another. It pulls the mind together, it pulls all the different thoughts together, and it gives you a certain amount of willpower. So where you want your mind to go, the mind can go there, right? Similarly, emotionally also. Right now we are, victims of our emotions. Victims, we are too sensitive or too afraid or too angry. We are not able to control our emotions. Japa is control. Japa is mind control. By controlling the mind, by controlling the breath, you control your emotions. You control what to think, how much to think. The quality and the quantity of thought is also becomes under your control. Right? So these are some of the benefits. The actual benefit is self-realization. These are all, you can say, side effects of japa. So for your practice or for the sadhana to become successful, there are certain few more small things. One is called Anushtana. Anushtana is basically discipline. If you are not disciplined, you cannot do it. You need discipline and you need to purify your mind and body to be able to do. This is called Anushtana. Anushtana is waking up at the same time daily and creating a lifestyle that is beneficial for doing japa. Right? Suppose you're eating a heavy breakfast at 9:30 and then you try to sit for japa, you will not be able to do it. So first you do the japa. So you basically move your breakfast around so you can do japa at the right time. This is called Anushtana. Anushtana also, it involves many other things. Maybe some people quit eating non-vegetarian food, quit alcohol. So it brings lifestyle changes on its own when the practice becomes strong. And also to make the practice strong, you can, do things that are beneficial to the practice. This is called Anushtana. And then we have something called Purascharana. Purascharana is basically having a Sankalpa in mind, saying, I will chant 1 crore times. Now I will do this. I will do 1 crore rounds of this. This is called Purascharana. This is called Sankalpa. And then doing it, let's say I want to do it in 40 days or I want to do 1 crore. Until then I will drink only water. Or till then I will eat only 1 meal a day. Or I will eat only fruits. I'll drink only milk. People do this. This is called Purascharana. Purascharana is very good because to expedite the process, to intensify the process. So You are doing your regular practice all the time, it is fine. But let's say Chaturmasya, 4 months in a year, or even 1 month in a year, or 20 days in a year. Give that time for this intense. It's like a boot camp. Give yourself that space and that time to, let's say, okay, now I will focus on japa. The benefits are manifold. It completely cleanses, purifies the person inside out, and what comes out is something else. Right? This is called Purascharana. So we have covered most of the things, but the most important element of japa, without which it is nothing, that is bhakti. Bhakti is devotion. So if you are not devoted to the cause, forget being even devoted to the devata. See, bhakti, people think if I just hear the name of the Lord, I'll start crying. All these things are also bhakti, we're not saying. But it is not possible for us daily to think of the Lord and start crying. At least a beginner who's starting, or who's on the practice, he has not experienced those states of exaltation. So no need to be disappointed that I am going to a temple, I am not feeling anything. I am reading Ramayana, I am not feeling. That doesn't matter. I am doing japa, I am not feeling anything. That's okay. But being devoted to the cause, wholeheartedly being devoted, is only bhakti. Surrendering. See, what is surrender? What is japa is surrender in practice. Now people, we read the Vedas, we read the Shastras. Everywhere they say Ishvara Pranidhana. Dedicate yourself to the Guru, surrender to the Guru, surrender to the Divine, surrender to existence. Now, what is surrender to existence? How do we surrender? Surrender in practice is japa. When we say Om Namah Shivaya, I pay obeisance to Shiva. Right? Salutations to Shiva. Surrender to Shiva. This is only Om Namah Shivaya. Continuously we are telling, yes, I am yours, I am yours, I am yours. Om Namo Narayanaya. Same thing. There is nothing else. That's why all the Shrauta mantras are based like this. Because there is nothing else to say. I am yours. If you've seen a cat, how it carries a kitten. The kitten never clings to the cat. The cat carries with its, teeth, fangs, or whatever you call it, it carries it and goes around. So the kitten is, in suspension. It is not doing anything. Similarly, the devotee should surrender completely. The cat will take, the mother will take you. See, the Lord or the God, what we say, Shiva, Vishnu, whoever you want to say, Brahman, whatever, is running the whole universe. He cannot run your life. It is nothing. The ordinator of the universe will ignore you. Not possible. So surrender to that. Don't have the false notion that I will run my life. I am very good. I will take all the burden on myself. I will suffer. I will enjoy. And give up the doership. Japa is nothing but giving up the doership. I am not something great. Om Namo Narayanaya. Means I bow down to you. Surrender in practice is japa. So it is written that the Devatas and the Rakshasas were having a lot of wars. So they were trying to hide in a lot of places. They could not find any, places. So they say the Devatas hid in the mantras. So they say the Devatas came and hid in the mantras. So when you chant the mantra, the Devatas appear. So the mantra is not different from the Devata. Right? This is why when you read the story of Prahlada, Dhruva, whatever, Valmiki, the gods would appear to them. Why would they appear to them? Because you have touched that place where the God exists. Right? So, but where is the mantra? Mantra is not outside. See, the mantra is not outside. It's not in some book. The mantra is within. So when we say, the devatas are hiding in the mantra is inside. Manas trayate iti mantraha. It is in your own mind. It is in your own heart. So by constant japa on your own heart, the self shines forth. The devata means divya, that which shines. What is that div that shines? The self, Atman. Atman shines forth with that. So real bhakti is surrendering to this Atman, surrendering to this. So it does not matter Shiva, Vishnu, Skanda, Ganesha, Saraswati, Lakshmi. They all end in finally the self. They all are the Atman, right? So finally, meditation, salutations is to that Atman, and from this Atman only the self appears, the self shines forth, and you experience the Sakshatkara. This is called Atma Sakshatkara, and this is the goal of Mantra Japa.